All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD 1000 Web Development Technologies course, I've been creating a series of video presentations based on the Mozilla Developer Network Learn Web Development series. And as you can see, I'm in the Tools and Testing section under Understanding Client-Side Web Development Tools, and we're talking Package Management Basics. All right. In this article, we'll look at package managers in some detail to understand how we can use them in our own projects to install project tool dependencies, keep them up to date, etc. So, as it says there, a dependency is a third-party bit of software typically written by someone else to solve a problem for you. A web project can have a number of dependencies or can have none, depending on the complexity and what at all you need to install and do in the project. A simple example, as it says, is you might need some code. You might need some code to calculate relative dates in a human-readable format. It says you could code this yourself, but if somebody has already done it, why reinvent the wheel? All right. So a project dependency can be an entire Java library or framework, like React, which we'll look at later. Or it can be a very small utility, something like Prettier, NESLint, which we've looked at. All right, without modern build tools, dependencies like this might be included using a simple script tag, but this might or may not work right out of the box. Well, you've already seen how easy it is to install this stuff in something like Visual Studio Code. All right, it makes more sense, as they mention here, to use a package manager, and that's what NPM is. NPM is something that's used with Node. In fact, it's the Node package manager. And we make a lot of use of NPM in the AWD 1111 class. All right, so it says we met NPM already, and if I click on there it is. It doesn't look like much, but let's say that I wanted a package that would work with dates. They mentioned that before. So I'm going to type in dates, and it's going to show me a bunch of different packages I can add to a program. Now, most of the time, this is going to be done with server-side JavaScript, not client-side JavaScript, but I've used Moment, for example, before. All right. As it says, a package manager provides a method to install new dependencies, also known as packages, manage those packages, not only move or install, but remove if you don't need something, etc. In theory, you may not need a package manager, or you might. So it says if you didn't use one, you'd have to manually handle putting your project together and doing everything that would be involved in that, such as it says finding the correct JavaScript files, checking them in, downloading them, etc. In addition, package managers handle duplicate dependencies. In the case of NPM, you have two options for where to install your dependencies, globally or locally. If you install them globally, typically you only have to install them once. That's the good news. The bad news is they're always there and they're taking up space even if you don't need them very often. On the other hand, if you install them locally, it's better because then it's on a project by project type of basis, but you might have to do it if you've got 4 different projects, then you might have to install it 4 different times. All right. To see local dependencies really shine, all you need to do is try to download and run an existing project. If it works and all the dependencies work right out of the box, you're pretty much golden. All right. For a package manager to work, as mentioned here, it needs to know where to install packages from, and that comes in the form of a package registry. The one for NPM is npmjs.com. All right, that's what I showed you before. NPM, as it says, is not the only option. There are plenty of them. So they have you run through an example here. I'm not going to do this because, again, this is the type of thing that we will end up doing in the AWD 1111 class. Not only that, later we're going to go through some server-side stuff and we'll probably look at how to do a lot of this. All right. So I don't want to confuse anyone right now, so I'm not going to go through this. All right. Let's jump down to here, a rough guide to package manager clients. This tutorial installed the parcel package manager using NPM, but as mentioned earlier, there are some alternatives and some other things worth knowing. Yarn is another one. I've not used Yarn, but I've used projects that use Yarn. Yarn is basically an alternative to NPM. PNPM, I'm not even sure exactly what that is because I've never used it. I think that's about all that I'm going to do right here. It says package managers also support the creation of your own commands, more or less almost like batch files, so things that you can use on an as-needed basis. All right, so it says the next move is to build up a sample tool chain, so I might not spend much time on that either, but that's what we'll talk about in just a couple.